cells in your body. Okay? If you've got 100 trillion, and every second that little enzyme is eating 1 million per second, you can see how efficient that becomes. Okay? And if you continue to take this formulation, which they refer to as Protandim, if you continue to take that for, say, 3 to 4 weeks, your oxidative stress level would return to the same level as somebody who was in the age of 20 or younger. He says, Eric, he says, it would reduce this number right there by 40 to 70%. And I'm sitting there listening to him going, okay, this sounds pretty cool. And then he tells me this. Here's the cool thing, Eric. It works 100% of the time. I'm going, yeah, dang it. Why'd you have to say that? Because, you know, I've been around the block more than once. I knew that there was no way that you could make that kind of a claim. Come on, Dave. You know, you had something really good going here, and then you come out with that. I said, how can you do it? How can you say that? Because, you know, you ever read on anything, you can't prevent, treat, or cure, or do anything. And he's saying this product works 100% of the time, doesn't matter who you are. So long as you're a mammal and you're taking this product, it reduces oxidative stress by 40 to 70%. And he says, well, Dr. McCord, Eric, a few years ago, he says, is now a professor at the university over in Colorado State University. Okay, he's a professor there. And you had John Quinones, the investigative reporter from ABC Primetime, heard about what Dr. McCord was working with. Because here's the amazing thing. Science has discovered that oxidative stress is not only bad for your body, but nearly every disease out there has oxidative stress associated with it. If you don't believe me, go home tonight and Google anything that you can think of, put oxidative stress and whatever diseases you can come up with. And you'll find that there's something amazing. Every one of those diseases has all something in common, and that is oxidative stress. Okay? And so this was big news. So John Quinones is going over there. He's basically going to expose Dr. McCord for who he really is and tell the whole world that there's no way that this thing really does what it does. After going over there and spending some time with Dr. McCord and actually being part of the research and found out that this was real, that this product worked, they aired that information on television. Okay? It was ABC Primetime. It was about a 9-minute clip, a little over 7 years ago. Okay? As a result of that little 9-minute clip, there was a lot of people like you and I who were interested in their health who saw that and ran down the next day to GNC and purchased a bottle. But aside from you and I seeing it, there was a lot of people who were scientists and researchers like Dr. McCord working at other universities, like Ohio State, Kentucky State, Florida State, and Virginia Commonwealth, and the list just goes on and on and on. As a result, there was 26 universities called Dr. McCord and said, we'd like to get some of your product. And the reason why they had to get his product and not just an ingredient list is because Dr. McCord had the product patented. Okay? So they had to use the exact formulation that Dr. McCord created. And these universities spent their own money now researching this product, Protandim. And he says one of those researches, and it was published in a medical journal, and it said, Eric, that it works 100% of the time. I'm like, wow. We left that little meeting there with Dave Brown. We went home and there to the hotel room actually there that night. We talked. We said, you know, if this is legitimate, if this thing checks out the way that we were just told, this is the holy grail of network marketing.
Absolutely.
Well, why is that? Because up to this point, you guys have heard of clinical research and the double-blind placebos and everything like that, right? Okay? It's supposed to be really good research and science. I've since learned that it's kind of, subjective to like, well, how do you really feel? Okay? For the first time, we had somebody else who had spent their own money, and they had to research the exact product that the company was selling, not just an ingredient list, and they actually found out that it did something. Okay? Versus, well, my brother's uncle's cousin took the product and made him feel good. Okay? Because if you've been around this industry, you get tired of that. Because did it really work, or is he trying to sign me up on this thing? And that's why we wanted this third-party validation. That was why it was one of the crucial things that we were looking for. Because we didn't want to go down that path where it was, well, my cousin took it, my mom's taking it, she's doing real well on it. Well, you just tell me that because I need to sign up in this deal, or is it actually working? Okay? for the first time in history, we had a nutritional product that had actual research. And let me show you the type of research that I had, just to help you understand the magnitude of what you're seeing here tonight. Okay? Over the course of time, some of you might already know this, but for all of you that are high school educated like myself, let me show you this. Okay? There's two types of research that's out there. You got these clinical research and the double-blind placebos and all that kind of stuff. You and I can get here tonight, we can actually do that kind of research. Now, whatever we find, we can tell. If we find something that's not good, we don't have to tell anybody. Okay? And this is what all the nutritional supplements go through. Okay? That's what all of them are going through on that deal. That's why they can't make any claims, they can't prevent, cure any disease, because there's nobody really checking the answers over here on this clinical research. Okay? Versus what prescription drugs and stuff go through is called peer review. They have a group of scientists, A, who do a bunch of research. If they keep getting the same answer over and over and over and over and over again, they bring in another group of scientists, B, who do the same research that A did, and then they conduct their own research, and if it continues getting the same answer over and over again, then they bring in a group of peers, and they check both answers on both A and B, and if all of that continues to flesh out and it's good research, then it becomes eligible to be published in the medical journals. Okay? And I say only eligible, because once it's published in a medical journal, it's gospel at that point. All the other researchers can refer to that, and it's gone through the scrutiny that it actually does what it said it was doing. Okay? This right here, Protandim, has 26 universities conducting research like that. You know how big that is? Okay? Let me just give you an idea of some of the places that have done this research. Actually, you got Virginia Commonwealth University, based out there on the East Coast, right? They were studying how does taking Protandim and lowering oxidative stress affect heart disease and heart attacks. Well, why is that important? You know what the #1 killer in the United States is? Heart attacks. Heart attacks, heart disease, okay? Okay? And it affects as many women as it does men, okay? And so here was a university. They took this research and they were like lowering the oxidative stress. Now, on this research, let me tell you, they started out with mice, because what they had to do to the mice, they had to kill them later on, so they could go on and research them. So they wanted to start there as opposed to people. And but it was big news. How big a news? Any of you have heard of the American Heart Association? Okay, they have a medical journal called Circulation. It's published every single month. This is the top and latest and greatest research when it regards the heart. Okay, one of the most prestigious medical journals in the world. I had a heart surgeon tell me, he says, Eric, if you could get your product mentioned one time in here, it would be a big deal. I said, well, how would 26 pages of mention be? He said, that would be insane. I said, all right, okay, let me just give you an idea of what they did here. And I'm going to draw this out because this is, I want you to understand the impact of this product, Protandim, and the science that is going on here, okay? What they did is they started out here and they looked at the heart, okay? That's my rendition, okay? What happens when somebody has heart disease or heart attack? The heart turns to scar tissue. It's called fibrosis. Your heart is a muscle. If you ever had a scar, it doesn't quite work the way the rest of your skin does, right? Okay? What they also found is any of the capillaries that surrounded the heart, which are important to transport the blood and oxygen, they lose those. Okay? And then right here at the right ventricle is where most heart attacks occur, not only in humans. Okay? That's the #1 place where it ruptures and then you're dead. Okay? So they were conducting this research and they would take these group of mice and were looking at them. But again, mammals are mammals, and it translates over into what we're seeing here. Let me just give you a brief synopsis. I'm not going to read you all 26 pages, okay? But there's some key things I want to point out to you in this research that's published by the American Heart Association. This is right off of their website. It's not off of LifeVantage website. It's published off of theirs. It says, the dietary supplement Protandim. Right there is a big plus, okay? It didn't say the ingredient list. Okay, like all these other companies that we were talking to, they always say, well, we use the same ingredients. Do you? Are they got the same quality, the same amounts? No, it says the dietary supplement Protandim. prevented fibrosis. Okay? Didn't say kind of sort of helped occasionally. Okay? I'm not a doctor. I can't say it prevented. But you know what? These guys right here, these medical universities, they can publish what they find. They are accredited and able to do that. I'm reading you verbatim what this says out of the medical journal. Okay? Protandim prevented fibrosis and capillary loss and preserved the right ventricle function despite continuing pressure overload. Okay? It didn't lose any of the capillaries. They couldn't get it to rupture even despite adding more pressure to it. Guys, you know how big that is? It was big enough news that the American Heart Association says, we have to get word out to all the doctors out there so they can start getting themselves familiar with this product, Protandim, because it's an all-natural product. The other cool thing was there was 0 side effects. You know what's cool about being a publicly traded company? And it goes through peer-reviewed studies. If they found side effects, they are obligated to let us know. Why? Because that can affect the value of the stock. Okay? That was one study done. There's another study done on Protandim and how it affected skin cancer, published by LSU. Got another study published by Ohio State University on arterial transplants and stents. You got another publication on muscular dystrophy. You got another study going on right now with diabetes out of the University of Minnesota. What they found with their research was so impactful that they contacted LifeVantage and said, after 5 years of research, what we're finding is so big, we're going to extend our research for another 2 years because we just want them to double check everything because this is going to be big news. Okay? They're already a year into that research, so they're 2-year extension. Okay? You got the U.S. Navy just spent $10 million this summer to study Protandim and how its effects on muscle recovery and altitude sickness. Okay? You got research guys going on Alzheimer's and diabetes and cancer and you know, the heart attacks and the strokes and all these major things. Okay? This is huge. If all we have is that study right there alone, and we have all these people in the United States, the #1 killer, if we just took that study right there published by the American Heart Association, this would be a multi-billion-dollar company.